Hello and welcome to Africa Today. I am Esther Mokwariola. These are critical times in Africa and around the world where growing discontent and demands continue to drive political conversations, but not without creating a buzzwords like fake news and alternative facts. In Nigeria, the word restructuring now sounds like a hit song inspired by the concerns of regional marginalization, the inconvenience of national coexistence, and the wake-up call for secessionist agenda making the news in recent weeks. And so we ask, what are your thoughts on the calls for restructuring by various groups and notable individuals across Nigeria? You can join the conversation and share your thoughts with us on Twitter at TVC Connect. A report now to launch the program, and Africa Today will be right back. Welcome on board.
Through the years, almost every region, nationalities and groups have felt the nature of the Nigerian Union has not served them well. The result has been a rising call to rebellion against the Nigerian states. It is a trend that has got people worried enough to get all sides involved to dialogue and examine previous yet futile attempts at constitutional restructuring. One of such groups is the United Action for Change.
We should stop this long talking. And what we have to do, what are the processes that we, the citizens, the minors, our representatives, what can we do to achieve a meaningful restructuring for Nigeria before it is too late?
We elevated injustice to what it is today. Then ethnic nationality became an issue. And that's one of the reasons one of the war heroes, of the Civil War heroes, is there. It's one of the reasons why Odu went to war with the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I also believe that also should be clarified.
Lead speaker Professor Ndobana challenged the Buhari administration to implement the recommendations of the 2014 National Conference.
The 2014 National Conference report contains very innovative recommendations that could bring about a paradigm shift. There's no time to look at all of them. Most of the conference recommendations need legal and constitutional backing to reshape the present and future. But would dirty politics allow the report to see the light of the day? As things presently stand, the Buhari administration has consigned the report to the archives.
Muiz Banire, the convener and executive member of the ruling All Progressive Congress, says efforts are on for the ruling party to adopt a modality on restructuring.
If you go back to our manifesto, you will discover that part of what we discussed in our manifesto is restructuring. But the reality is that the mode of implementation is where there is disagreement. For example, some are of the view that the effort that had been done in the past should be taken on board. Whereas some are of the view that no, you should go through the new process. Some are of even the view that that is the business of the National Assembly to do.
The group says the present structure has bred violations of rule of law and led to marginalization of most component groups in the country.
Welcome back. Now recently, former military President General Ibrahim Babangida joined the growing calls for restructuring Nigeria, beginning with the devolution of power and the creation of state police to achieve true federalism. Mixed reactions continue to trail recommendations on suitable paths the process should take. Now joining me in the studio on Africa Today, I have Emeka David, a political analyst and policy expert, and I also have Alfred Kemekpedu, the Secretary General, Ijo Youth Council in Nigeria. Good to have you gentlemen on the program.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
Good evening.
Right, let me begin with you, Alfred. Let's begin with restructuring. The agitations, the calls are getting louder by the day. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, basically I think it's due. It's due because the Nigerian conversation needs to be reviewed at this particular point in time. Whether you call it restructuring in the form of true federalism, you call it restructuring in looking at the details of the Confab report or any other related document, we need to view the Nigerian discourse and begin to see the parts that are not making us progressive. Because you see, there is one thing about being irresponsible once you move away from a particular responsibility that you ought to respond to, it has a way of coming back to you for attention with a bigger momentum. And if you don't attend to it, it goes back and it comes back again with a bigger momentum. And until you attend to it, it has a way of coming back for your destruction. You know, this Nigerian conversation to be reviewed, whether it is called restructuring, true federalism, in the various nomenclatures that it has come with, has been coming over the time. So it is time for us to realize as a nation, okay, to look at our structures economically, politically, along social and religious lines, everything that is necessary so that we can refine a better nation for ourselves. And rightly introduced my colleague that is a policy analyst. Policies are not sacrosanct in this country. So we need to review this conversation and keep it on a realm where we can subject it to further review for the betterment of our country. Recently, you saw what happened in Britain. They reviewed themselves and they have Brexited. Now they are reviewing themselves in the realm of Brexit. You understand? So we need to keep Nigeria
on a page of review.
And get it better day by day, and not to fix it on things that are obviously not working today.
All right, point taken there. Now, David, I think you've just heard Alfred's point of view, but some would say Nigeria, we as Nigerians aren't ready for restructuring. Do you think we are ready for this new plan we are clamoring for?
To say that Nigerians are not ready for restructuring is not really true.
Okay.
Let me say it this way, and this being the problem we have, is a problem that if we are in a position of authority today, we sing another tune. When we get out of policy-making process or governance, we sing another tune. I give an instance, practical instance. In August 2010, today's governor of Kaduna State, he actually made a statement in the print media, and he said that Nigeria is ripe for structuring now. He said categorically there that this federalism where the governors come is making them lazy. That if we restructure, you know, along the line of fiscal federalism, that will put them on their toes so that they can actually begin to generate resources to run their states. But today, at about 6 to 7 years after, he is now the governor of Kaduna State. And look at the statement he just made yesterday. He's now saying that those that are calling for restructuring are opportunists and irresponsible. Now, this is the same person who is well-read and well-respected as a very brilliant person. So you find that he's looking at it from the prism of his present status. So believe me, when he steps out of there, his tone will be different. But let me say this, that Nigerians across the nation, anybody that is truthful, that is not economic with the truth, or not profiting from the system that is existing now, is crying for restructuring. Why? Because arguably, I can tell you as a Nigerian, I'm a proud Nigerian, but I'm not so proud a Nigerian today. Why? Because where I think our country should be is not where it is. And I go back to history. And I read the statements made by Saubaka Tafawa Balewa. I don't want to say those things here. You know, it's not needful now, but for history purposes. I read what was said by Chief Obafemi Awolowo. I read what was said by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And all those things are historical facts that amplifies the fact that we are different, on the line different, that there needs to evolve a structure that will keep us together, that is agreeable to us. And then, if we fail to learn from history, we keep repeating the mistakes of history. But now it's very important. Why? I gave an analogy somewhere, and I say that we are like, Nigeria is like a woman in labor, actually in a labor room. You understand that? Waiting to either deliver positive result or report, or have a fatal report. And all of us have agreed that we want Nigeria. Everybody who is a Nigerian wants Nigeria. Even the government themselves say it must be Nigeria or nothing else is non-negotiable. That is arguable too. So if all of us are resolved that we want Nigeria, and from history we have found ourselves we are so different in various planks, religious, ethnic, political, otherwise. We are very different, and we said we want to stay together. Then it's high time, if we really mean to, in the face of what is upon us now that if we don't do that, then all of us may have been lying to ourselves, because we may end up not having what in Nigeria again to love.
All right, let's quickly take a break now. You're watching Africa Today, and we have been looking at the calls for restructuring by senior politicians and individuals around the world. Stay with us here for more discussions after this. Welcome back. Amidst unending calls for restructuring, the release of hate speeches by various indigenous groups have continued to dominate talking points across Nigeria. Now, recently, a group of youths in the northern part of the country gave an ultimatum to the Igbos to vacate the territory due to the ongoing agitations for secession in the southeast Nigeria. Now, Alfred, just before Emeka, before we went on break, Emeka made mention of what is, pertinent. Most Nigerians will more or less try to shy from. That's politicians generally. Taking a cue from what El Rufai said that the calls for restructuring by some politicians means that they are opportunists. Shy from. That's politicians generally. Taking a cue from what El Rufai said that the calls for restructuring by some politicians means that they are opportunists. But if I were to look at this situation critically, most of us do not really understand what restructuring really entails. From your little understanding, what do you think we will stand to gain if we definitely go into this restructuring plan, as it were?
Basically, I don't want to give relevance to whatever RFI said. I don't want to make sense out of it. It's a shame as far as I'm concerned. But basically, you see, some time ago, let's take the dollar, for example. Some time ago, my father told me that when my uncle was traveling to the US, the dollar was, Nigerian naira was 80 kobo to 1 naira, to $1. Some time ago, I witnessed when the dollar was about 40 naira. It was 182 at a particular, now it's 450. So it just shows that the country it's grinding slowly. So even if you don't understand, even if one doesn't understand anything, it calls for us to review what we are doing as a people.
Right.
And when I talk about this restructuring, okay, I will advise that we look at the restructuring from all ramifications. Take the Niger Delta, for example, where I come from. Right. We are agitated, we are marginalized, up to the extent that people think that drilling oil from our region and giving us bribes like the Amnesty Office or paying peanuts to some people is a favor they are doing to us. Let me rightly tell you this. We are not keen about the oil that goes out of our region. As a matter of fact, we don't even want oil drilled there. We want a cleaner environment. As Niger Delta youths currently, what we are thinking is how we can drive our economy to a green economy. Look at Dubai, for example. Look at other Arab nations, for example, that have a lot of abundant oil. They have just moved from oil to non-oil sectors such as tourism and whatnot. Look at the Niger Delta, okay? Look at our estuaries, look at our Greenland, look at our rivers. Our real wealth is even in the ocean. We have it abundantly that so much that they had to call us names like river states, Delta state. That's what we are thinking about. So when we say restructuring of the country, we are not just talking about it from the realm of politics. We're talking about from the realm of economics. We're talking about the realm of social. We need to begin to review the way we do this. We need to even restructure the way we fight corruption so that it doesn't appear as if it's selective. So a whole lot of these will come on the deck. But first, we need to begin to look at the marriage. We need to begin to look at the phrases in the Nigerian constitution that says, we the people of Nigeria. Did we the people of Nigeria really say those things as written by the military and handed to us? So I don't know why people will begin to ask questions like, if it's really true that that is moderating me here is light in complexion. It's obviously so. Because something is obviously wrong with Nigeria. If Nigeria was a patient in a hospital, we're already in the emergency ward. Do you get what I mean? We need to check all of this. And so there's no gain anybody saying this is political, this is not political. Let me give you an example. For example, oil feeds this country for about 90%. But I can tell you, there is no state in this country that does not have a resource that is equivalent to a particular resource that is sustaining a particular country. somewhere else.
Yeah.
Even this reckless nomadic explosion of herdsmen going to, there are countries like Brazil, India, whose beef imports earns them revenue more than some states' allocation. In short, as a matter of fact, research shows that Nigeria has not even been able to meet our beef consumption. I am saying this to say that when we begin to restructure and review our potentials as a country, even those things you look as petty, as nomadic farming like the herdsmen moving around, can be transformed and reformed by state governors who are willing to work to build resource to the country. I'm not now talking about resources such as the gold that you can find in other parts of the north, the minerals generally, the coal that you can find in Enugu, and the beautiful landscape. Look at Gambia. What is sustaining Gambia? It's just tourism. So we need to begin to review all of these things rather than thinking lazy and boxing ourselves. So I'm really amazed that people with sufficient exposure, as we may perceive, will come up to the podium and say, for anybody to think restructuring, okay, the person is thinking lazy or is an opportunity or using any of those derogatory terms. I don't want to join in that.
All right. All right. Let me quickly look at the issue of Southeast secession. Now, we have brothers from the Southeast calling for a referendum. They want to be on their own. But they feel that a restructuring plan will not work for them. What are your thoughts on this?
It is because there's a misconception of what restructuring is about. You see, what the Igbo man, if I have an understanding, that is the Southeasterner wants, is truly restructuring and not secession. Because Nigeria will be making a mistake, and that is wrong. We're making the mistake of actually likening or accepting as Igbo position, one man's position. It is also because I can understand because they don't understand the socio-political culture of the Igbos. Or you understand that it's not that developed like those of the Southwest and those of the North, where one man can say, and everybody will line up, whether they like it or not. But I grew up in the village. All right. Today, I love the Yorubas. I'm a Yoruba, right? And I love them tremendously. They are very civilized people. I love them so much. But in the South, where I grew up in the village, one man can, in a public square, disagree on what the community has agreed to do, and he will single himself and say, "I don't agree on this." He is not immediately ostracized. He will be morally persuaded to see why to line up. So when somebody writes somewhere, Nnamdi Kanu says, all kinds of things he says, that's not the way Igbos talk. He is not speaking for the Igbos. And there's a mistake that there was a sit-at-home call, quote unquote, from him. There are factors that led to that. It is not because he said so. It's not as if Ohanese joined him. People were concerned about the security. Because the police were everywhere, security agencies were everywhere. You understand that? And there was no, in all that, there was no mass gathering of IPOB or MASOB or any of those secessionist groups. So people were simply, for one, safeguard yourself. Because you may be coming out and they say you're about to gather. And if anything happened to you, there's no account. You understand that? So, but having said that, let us actually understand what restructuring is. Because if you do explain and understand it, then people will buy into it and stop this issue of secession. Now, a structure is simply like, it's a structure that gives you your outlook. You are a woman and I'm a man because of our bone structure. You understand that? If we change our structure, our bone structure, our outlook will change. So what has happened over the years is that Nigeria has been structured in such a way that is producing what we are seeing today. You understand that? Now we have in our constitution provisions for exclusive list, and this is exclusive for the federal government to legislate on and carry out. We have the concurrent list. In that, you see the federal and the state sharing. In the residual list, then we have it state and local government sharing. You understand that? And then we ask ourselves, what are in the exclusive list? What's concurrent list and residual list? And then I say to you that the federal government, for instance, don't have any business running schools. You understand that? Federal government don't have any business, or the state asking for permission to build airport road. They don't have any business running the power system. They don't have any business running local security. Because, believe it or not today, things are now in another level. The challenges we're having today is not as they had before. You understand that? So we need, take a look at our this is a structure, to explain the structure. Before the police is deployed to respond to any emergency in any place in Nigeria, it has to come from the federal government. Before the army responds to emergency, you understand that? Abuja. Before anything happens, Abuja. Before you fix light, Abuja. Before you go to school, Abuja. And that is not right. Because individuals have peculiarities in their regions. In the north, the challenges they have security-wise is not the same as in the south. So there must be what? A system that is structured such that they can respond to their peculiarities quickly.
All right, let me quickly get to you now, Alfred. Even though you're not a lawyer, but at least you have a little bit of an understanding. What process will it take for us to get this restructuring process? Because according to what I understand, the restructuring plan isn't in our constitution. So what will it take for us to get this done and quickly, and if possible, without any violence, as it were?
Yeah, basically, I don't know what the details in the Constitution are as it is in the law, but overall, I would think that there is provision for our representatives in the National Assembly and other places to keep the ball rolling. I don't really know what it takes, but I know it's not outside kick-starting the conversation. So let me not dabble into it. I really don't get what it meant.
All right, well, let's look at the Confab report now.
Okay.
Do you think the Confab report, implementation of the Confab report will solve all these issues, even though, quote unquote, the APC chairman says it isn't what they are looking at, because they are talking about the economy first and, well, devolution of powers. That's, I'm quoting John Oyegun in a previous interview he had with another media station. But do you think the implementation of the 2014 Confab report would make things a lot easier for the people of Nigeria?
For John Oyegun to separate the economy from the political, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. You see, you cannot separate politics and economy in the development of a nation. They go hand in hand everywhere. Now, basically, what they need to do, I can't stay here to say the Confab report or any other related report will at once solve the problems, but it will kickstart the conversation. At least it will take us from the point where we are to a better point than for us to now further subject whatever we have done right to a process that will improve it, and whatever we have got wrong to review and begin to bring what is right. But so there is no particular report I know of anywhere in the world that just brings solution. It's a process. As we get on, we get it better. Even as the years go by, information changes. So there's a need for us to tilt a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right to get it right. But we need to keep working, as Johnny Walker would say.
All right, and finally, your last words, Emeka.
You see, I want to be, this is Africa today. Let me try to be point blank. In Nigeria, we don't say the truth to ourselves. So it's high time we begin to say the truth. And I'll tell you how. Now, face it this way, because there are no two ways about it. Confab reports did not deal with the critical issues that will reflect and change the way we are and douse the tension, because it never, there was a time they talked about revenue generation and revenue sharing formula. They shouted, people said they were going to kill themselves and all that. That's okay, fine, let's keep it the last day. The last day said, let another think tank group, technical group, handle that. And they just, and nothing was done. Let me tell you this. This man is from Ijo. There's another man from the north who goes about with a principle that based on a UN report, that anyone that owns 70% of the landmass of a country controls the resources. And therefore, he said that they own the oil. These are fundamental issues that needs to be sorted out. Others say, now you say you are rivers, now you say you're producing oil, now tell your governors, let them account for the monies given to them from the 13%, then after that, we'll now review. That is like telling you that works here, that at the end of the month, having earned your pay, that you don't have the right to spend it the way you desire. You can go out from the gates and dash a beggar. It does not concern your employers so long as you deliver your responsibilities accurately. Do you understand that? So there are many critical issues. Some say that my state is Kaduna. From my state, Kaduna, they get this and that, but he has not said also what his own state contributes to national quota. So there must be the issue of what? Revenue, structural review. There must be total restructuring.
Total restructuring.
Yes, because
indeed.
every region of this country have resources to sustain them.
All right,
Very
let's
clear.
leave it at that point. Thanks a lot, Emeka David. Quite a positive outlook and, of course, an extensive analysis on that issue. Thanks a lot for your analysis.
Thank you
on
very
the program.
much. Anytime.
And as well, Alfred Kemepadu.
You got it right this time.
Secretary
Thank
General,
you.
Enjoy Youth Council in Nigeria. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, viewers.
Nigeria finds itself at crossroads with emerging political realities, ensuring that dialogue is necessary and reform is inevitable. While restructuring looks like the most important tool in the kit to reshape democratic values and reawaken national consciousness, one can only hope that in the end, Nigeria becomes better for it. And that is our package for today. But don't forget to join the conversation as usual on Twitter at TVC Connect. And also follow me for updates around Africa at Esther TVC News. Until the next one, I am Esther Mokwariola, and always remember, this is Africa. Bye for now.